Today I invite you to make some crispy cashew oatmeal cookies, and while we are making the cookies, I invite you to join me as we talk about properly preparing grains, beans, legumes, nuts, seeds. This is something that I have truly been learning the last several months. I've known about it for the last several years, but I've really actually delved into learning it and experimenting with this in my kitchen, and we'll talk about that in this video today. So these cookies are delicious. Everyone that has tried them, my husband, my parents, my children, are like, wow, what is in these cookies? And they are so good. I'll leave the recipe below. The original recipe is from the Weston A. Price website. You can just go to the internet and search Weston A. Price oatmeal cookies, Weston A. Price brownies, and find a properly prepared, soaked, fermented, sprouted recipe. And that's what I've been doing lately, and trying to convert all of my recipes to more digestible grains, nuts, beans, legumes, which we're talking about in this video. So as you see me here, I started out by soaking my nuts, my oats, and my grains. And throughout this video, we're going to talk about why I'm doing all that, because this is something y'all probably have not seen me do very much, because like I said, this is something that's pretty new to me. I'm learning a lot about it. And if you are not here yet, maybe you are just making sourdough bread. You just started fermenting sourdough bread, but you're still using store-bought flour. That's wonderful. Get comfortable with that and then move to whole grains. Maybe you are already working with whole grains, but you aren't familiar with sprouting or soaking those grains. Wonderful. Work with that. Work with whole grains, grinding your own flour. Get comfortable with that, and then learn more about soaking, fermenting, sprouting, etc. As I'm going to talk about this video, this is not something I started doing overnight. Like I said, this has been a journey, and I encourage you to always be learning and striving and improving your kitchen skills, preferably the ancient way. I have been diving into the work of Jordan Rubin, who teaches a lot about biblical eating, how the Israelites ate in the Bible. They're the ones that were given the laws of what to eat, not to eat, clean foods, unclean foods. And then all throughout the Bible, it talks about food, if you really delve into it. And he points that out in his book. So I wanted to read a little excerpt from his book about carbohydrates. The maker's carbohydrates, including natural sugars, come directly from nature without so-called refinement or enrichment. There are two types of natural sugars found in carbohydrate foods. The first type consists of diosaccharides, which are a chain of two simple sugars. This includes table sugar, lactose. Foods that contain diosaccharides include sugar, grains, potatoes, corn, and non-cultured dairy products. These foods can be difficult to digest unless they are consumed in their pre-digested form, i.e. after they have been soaked, sprouted, and or fermented. The second type of sugar in carbohydrate foods consists of monosaccharides, which are single sugars found in fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds. These are more easily digested. To eat carbohydrates the maker's way, only include whole grain products in your diet that have been properly treated through soaking, sprouting, or fermenting that converts diosaccharides to monosaccharides and reduces or eliminates phytates, which are not easily digested and can cause nutrient deficiencies. Before mass production of grains, canned beans, nuts in a can, it was common for people to soak their grains overnight and then allow them to dry in the air the next day until they were partially germinated or sprouted to go through the ancient leavening process. From those grains, they then grinded them and made breads and other foods. So this was a new concept to me because I had just been grinding my grains and cooking with them, not actually learning about sprouting or soaking, but that is what is so beneficial to our health. So you will see that at the beginning of this video, I started my soaking the night before with my nuts, oats, and grains, and then I put them on my dehydrator sheets and dehydrated them. I'm gonna have a little printable, a free printable for y'all if you want to know more about properly preparing grains, beans, lentils, nuts, and seeds. I'm going to have a little printout. This is just kind of where I paraphrase from the book about how to properly prepare grains, if this is something that you're new to. But I highly encourage you to read his book, The Maker's Diet. It's so eye-opening to how the people of the Bible ate, how they properly prepared their foods. There's more more than just like the carbohydrate part. There's the fats and the proteins and the clean and the unclean meats and things like that. So anyways, these cookies are delicious. They are the most nourishing cookies I've probably ever made. And my parents came up the day that I made these cookies, and they were like just sneaking cookies. My dad came to me, he was like, I want to admit I ate several of those cookies. They were so good. So they have a really chewy toffee texture because you are putting these crispy, flavorful cashews in there. And I love raw cashews. But for a while, I just avoided nuts because I knew they weren't easily digested. I didn't really know how to properly prepare them, though it's so easy. You literally just soak them in a little bit of salt water, drain the water, dehydrate them either in your oven or in a dehydrator, or you can put them out on a towel in the fresh air like the ancient people of the Bible did, though nowadays I would have birds coming up, chickens coming up, pecking away at my cashews. But I love raw cashews. My husband loves raw cashews, but we have now eaten these properly prepared cashews, and I can say they are way better than just raw cashews. They have just a rich, buttery flavor. They're still raw technically because you haven't heated them above the point to kill the enzymes of them, but they're just more digestible for our body. Same thing with the oats. Oats are something that I avoided for a while too, because for a while I was making soaked granola because we love granola, but it took a long time. You had to soak the oats, dry them, and then add your other ingredients. And it was just a process that I just kind of avoided for a while. But now that I have read this book and I've realized how much our bodies need this type of food, I'm bringing this back into our diet. So I will continue to kind of show y'all recipes I'm making on how I soak the grains. Some recipes I will soak the actual grain berries, as you saw in this recipe. I soaked the grain berries, dried them, then grinded them. Some recipes like muffins, I will go ahead and grind the wheat berries and then soak them in the liquid contents that the recipe calls for overnight, and then add the other ingredients. So I will definitely try to share more on this, on how properly prepared grains, beans, legumes. I actually shared a video a week or two ago on making chili. We properly soaked our beans for the chili. It's actually really easy to do these things. It's just not something we are accustomed to in our society today, because we have been so used to the convenience of just opening a can of beans or opening a can of nuts and just pouring them into a recipe, or just eating them by handfuls. That's not really how I think they were intended to be consumed. There are preparation techniques for foods that have just been forgotten in the modern conveniences of our world, and I just cannot tell you how much of a joy it brought me to make these cookies for my family, doing this proper preparation. So again, I encourage you, if you are not here and you have not even heard of soaking or sprouting or fermenting, I'm sure you've heard of fermenting because lots of people ferment now because popularity that sourdough brought a few years ago. But if you are just making sourdough bread, that is a wonderful start. I just encourage you to continually learn, research, grow in your kitchen, because it's only going to better your family. I have done videos before, just challenging moms to constantly learn something new in their kitchen, learn a new skill, learn to cook from scratch, learn to make sourdough bread, then learn to work with whole grains, then learn about the sprouting and soaking and fermenting process for your whole grains, your beans, your lentils, your nuts, and your seeds. And you're just going to continue to see your family's health improve and improve and improve. It's just amazing looking at my children's health. From my first, we didn't do much of this at all. I mean, he wasn't a sickly child, but he did get sick more often than our subsequent children I've slowly been transitioning more to this ancestral, now even more biblical diet. And it's just beautiful learning to look at food as a gift from God, as a provision from God, and preparing it how He originally intended the people of the Bible to prepare their food. So I hope this was encouraging. I will have the cookie recipe down below, the properly prepared, nourishing, crispy cashew oatmeal cookies. The original recipe called for pecans and chocolate chips, but I kind of had to alter it because it didn't have some of those ingredients. I didn't have high quality chocolate chips. That's another thing. If you ever read the ingredient label on chocolate chips, they all have some sort of soy lecithin, and and just not an ingredient we like to use. There are some from Azure Standard that do not. They're a bit pricey. They're in my cart for this next month. A very small portion of them because my husband requested these cookies with chocolate chips for his birthday coming up next month. So I will continue to share recipes like this where I'm soaking, sprouting, fermenting things, hopefully just to encourage and challenge you to learn more in all areas of the kitchen. I will have a free link to a little printable down below if you want just a little cheat sheet on properly preparing your grains, beans, lentils, nuts, and seeds the way the Maker's Diet book demonstrates to us. I hope y'all enjoy these cookies if you make them, and I will see y'all next week.